Alright, here we are at the third level. Now, I was still pretty confused on what happened to the next level. What was that weird demonic face that was chasing me earlier in the game? And what was that weird Anguirus sprite thing? Could I have unlocked Anguirus in the NES Godzilla game? I was pretty confused, but I still was more encouraged to play this game because I wanted to see what was going to happen next. And pretty much, this is what we got. And so we moved on to the next level, which was called Death. When I loaded up to the game, I immediately looked at the game pieces and I was shocked to find out that, yes, I had in fact unlocked Anguirus. Oh yeah, now this was just getting interesting. As a kid, I always wanted to play as Anguirus in the NES Godzilla Monster of Monsters game. Even though Anguirus wasn't a character to ever play as this game, Anguirus was always one of my favorite Godzilla monsters to play in this game. So, I was really excited to get to play as one of my favorite Godzilla monsters in this game. So, I immediately moved my Anguirus piece and decided to test out my new Anguirus figure. The first level I played was this weird volcanic-like level. I was playing as Anguirus as I was walking down past what looked like some sort of weird molten burning lava that seemed to be flowing out from the ground. The background seemed to be some sort of clouds, some sort of black and red clouds with red lightning coming out of it. It was kind of a little bit disturbing, and sometimes the lightning strike would go off and release a loud, piercing thunderbolt sound. It was a little bit loud, though, but I was able to handle it. During the level, I encountered this weird ogre-like creature with massive sharp teeth covering its entire head, and it had no eyes. These creatures would come up at me and try to punch me and attack me. I would mostly attack them by punching them or kicking them. I discovered that Anguirus had an ability where he could stand on his hind legs, which was a pretty good tactic that the person that made this ROM hack used. And so I was eventually finished with this level. In the next level, I was playing as Godzilla. In this level, I was in this weird, hellish, fiery-looking cave. It was similar to the cave that I was in on the next level, but this time, however, it was much bigger, and there was more fire, more lava in the background. But I was playing as Godzilla as I was walking down through the cave. I soon realized that, just like the last cave level, I was once again gonna have to find a way out of this hell cave. And so, I played as Godzilla walking down through the cave. And as I was walking, I was encountering these two creatures. One looked like a giant, large, long, eel-like creature similar to Manda, and another one being this weird, humanoid-like creature with two long teeth coming out of what seemed to be its nose or its mouth. It was kind of a bit weird. And this time, the level looked pixelated instead of realistic. Eventually, during the level, I encountered this large, giant, massive humanoid beast-like creature with hair running down its back. It had a large snout. It had black eyes with no pupils. It had domesticated-looking razor-sharp teeth, and it had crazy, insane, sharp claws. Eventually, this level turned into a mini-boss fight, and I knew that now I was going to have to fight the giant beast. I was about to run and punch the beast directly in the head, when all of a sudden, just before I could do it, the monster then opened its mouth and let out a large bead of fire and spit it directly at me, causing me to lose almost half of my health. After when the monster was done firing its fire beam, I immediately went up to it and tried to punch it. However, I had to pause the game because nearly half of my health was nearly damaged. But after that, I decided to unpause the game and continue playing. It was a pretty tough move for me, but eventually I was able to defeat this monster and I was able to finish the game. Alright, now it's time for the boss fight. The first boss that I fought was Manda, and I chose Anguirus for this boss fight, just because I wanted to see more of Anguirus' attacks. Manda was a pretty cool boss fight. First thing he would do is when his first attack would become too useful, he would switch on to another one. Manda had a lot of weird, cool, and strange attacks in this game, such as spitting fireballs, biting, but most annoyingly, constricting. It was probably one of the most annoying attacks that Manda had ever had in this game. However, one thing I did notice in this boss fight is that the Atragon can come and help me take down Manda. That was pretty awesome. But however, it wouldn't be for long, as Manda would instantly destroy it once the Atragon attacked it 2 times. But still, it was pretty cool. The next boss that I fought was Baragon. But however, something was different. Instead of just fighting the normal Baragon, instead I was fighting this giant, large, massive creature with a mastodon-like skull and with no arms. I had no idea what was going on, but I just decided to go with it. The beast had to be at least 10 times bigger than Godzilla. You might be wondering how this thing attacks with no arms. Well, this thing has the most annoyingest attack ever. The third thing about this boss is that it has the most largest and the most brutal kick ever shown in the entire game. But however, the most annoying attack that this creature has is when you get way too close to this monster, it opens its mouth and lets out a large freeze beam that comes out right from its mouth and entirely freezes you. After when Not Baragon freezes you, he immediately goes back to the right corner of the screen and unleashes a large machine gun right out from its abdomen and starts shooting you. It was a pretty annoying attack. It was even more annoying than Gigan's chainsaw attack. And so, in order to defeat this creature, I had to do my infamous spamming atomic breath attack in order to defeat this creature. And eventually, I was able to defeat Not Baragon. I then went over to go and fight Gigan. I decided that I was going to use Anguirus in order to defeat Gigan. But however, something weird happened. Gigan wasn't there in the boss fight. Instead of Gigan, there was this weird piranha fish-like creature that somehow appeared on the screen. I didn't really know what was going on. Was this some kind of troll or something? But however, this wasn't a troll at all, as the next thing that would happen next would scare the heck out of me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Not Gigan came in and slashed the poor little fish into little itty-bitty pieces, slashing it as if it was a piece of paper. Well, that was a pretty brutal introduction to bring you a brand new monster. That entrance really did scare the heck out of me, especially after seeing the aftermath of the death of that poor fish. It worked because Not Gigan was probably one of the toughest boss fights to ever fight in this whole game. He was pretty fast. He could run from one screen to another, and it was very, very hard to attack him. I had to work very fast and dodge some of Not Gigan's attacks. It was pretty very hard to dodge some of them. I would have to crawl up into a ball and try to get away from some of them. But however, another attack that Not Gigan has is shooting a laser beam from right out of its mouth. But however, that attack is quickly avoided just by crawling or jumping. However though, I was able to get a good hand grip on Not Gigan, and I was pretty easily able to attack him by using this new attack that I discovered from Anguirus, a shockwave attack that can be shot right out of Anguirus' mouth. And so I used that attack directly against Not Gigan, instantly destroying him. The final boss that I fought on this level was Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla's fighting technique was pretty tricky, but was also pretty cleverable. Immediately when fighting Space Godzilla would create two snowflakes, and the snowflakes would crash down onto the ground, creating crystals. Once the crystals have been formed, Space Godzilla uses the crystals to re-heal his energy and to make him create a large fiery heat beam coming directly out from his mouth that can hit you instantly. It was a very tough, tricky fighting technique to avoid. Once the crystals would be formed, I would have to immediately destroy them so I could get close to Space Godzilla. Once the two crystals were destroyed, Space Godzilla was easily powerless, so I could immediately come up to him and instantly attack him. But however, when Space Godzilla punched me, it would immediately bring me back to the right of the screen just so he could do the crystal attack again. But however, he wasn't going to be doing that this time, and so I decided to defeat him by using 2 punches and a spamming atomic breath attack. And so I instantly defeated Space Godzilla. After defeating Space Godzilla, the screen then once again cut to instant black, with only Godzilla on the screen. And just like what happened last time, I couldn't control Godzilla. This time, however, I was prepared for what was going to happen next, because I knew that something was going to happen. Was I going to get a new monster? I was about to find out. Just as I expected, a new cage began to form, and soon there was another monster inside that cage. I instantly recognized the monster in that cage to be Rodan, and then those crazy, evil-looking white eyes began to stare directly. They began to form into the black background and stare directly at Godzilla.
It's time for round 2. This time, you won't win.
The chase was on. The black, demonic, large demon face thing started to chase me down through the hellish level. The hellish level was normal, but however, this time, changes were made. The biggest change in this level was that spikes had now been placed on the ground. This even made the level even more harder for me. For now, not only was I gonna have to spam the run button, but I was also gonna have to spam the jump button as well. I instantly knew that this demonic creature was not playing around, and that he was serious when he said that I wasn't going to win this time. And I guess he's probably right, but I didn't need to lose hope. I still wanted to see what the ending to this wrong hack would be. So I continued to spam the run and jump button. I continued to go faster and faster throughout the level. Eventually, it was really hard to defeat to get through this level. I'm still shocked that I was able to defeat it towards this day. But eventually, just like last time, I was able to outrun the demon.
What? Impossible! You were supposed to fail! Oh well, I'll get you next time. And this time, I'll make sure you lose.
Eventually, just like what happened last time, Rodan broke free from the cage and landed down onto the black background. Oh man, this was getting interesting. First, I unlocked Anguirus, and now I unlocked Rodan. Oh man, this is gonna get even better. I wonder what other monster I'll unlock next. We can only hope. And pretty soon on, we moved on to the next level.